This is Amud Yomi, Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Dalid Amud Aleph. And in reality, we're really holding on the very top of Dalid Amud Aleph. We're in the middle of a little bit of a sugya that we ran out of time in the previous year. So I'd like to go back for a moment and speak out outside what's going on over here to get us into where we're holding. We're discussing that if someone sticks his hand outside before Shabbos, do we kenas him to pull his hand back in? If he sticks his hand on Shabbos, do we kenas him to pull his hand back in? And the Gemara explained that during the day, if he stuck his hand out, that at most it's going to come now to an Issa D'Rabbanan, we would allow him to pull his hand back in. But on Shabbos, we would, yes, kenas him. Why? Because you're playing with fire. You could potentially come to a daraisa. Now the Gemara said, Adarabba, Ibcha mistavra. That logic should dictate the exact opposite. Why? Because your gezerah derabanan is going to potentially result in an issa daraisa. Because if he stuck his hand out during the day and you can ask him to not pull his hand back in, he might come to drop the item. And if he comes to drop the item, he's over on a daraisa. Said the Gemara, for the fact that you did not answer like that, but rather you said that during the day we make a kinas, but on Shabbos we do not, but on Shabbos we make a kinas. From therefore we can answer Rabbi Bar Abaya's shaila. Because Rabbi Bar Abaya was also discussing someone did something wrong, similar to the guy who stuck his hand out during Shabbos. Now, do we allow you to pull your hand back in? Do we allow you to take the bread off the oven wall? Why? Because if you leave it there, it's going to come to an Isser Daraisa when the bread bakes. So Gemara said we should bring a rayam to lo yitiru, from the same reason that they canast you, that you can't pull your hand back in on Shabbos, and they weren't concerned with the eventuality that you might come to drop the item. So to over here, lo yitiru, they are not going to allow you to take the bread off of the wall of the oven. Said the Gemara, no. Ha kasha v'tivshait. That we could say that no, that the Rabbanan would not allow you to remove the dough to save the baker, and therefore that's what Rabbi's kasha was, and that's how we left it. Now we have multiple answers how we could be machalek between the two cases. That our case and Rabbi's case, our case of sticking your hand outside, whether we allow you to pull it back in, whether we make a kinas or not, is not the same as Rabbi's case when you put the bread in the wall of the oven, whether we allow you to take it off or not. By Shagi, there's no kinas. There's amazing is yes a kinas. eBay same material number 2 is both b'shagig. Hachlu kaitz shagig amazing. Mar savar yeah, mar savar no. eBay same the third answer on the bottom of Gimel Beis was what? Lo'ilam lo'i kansu. There is no kinas. V'lo'i kasha. Kan lo'isei chatzer. The second brace allows you to pull your hand back in is when you're pulling it into the same chatzar. Whereas on the top of Dalam and Aleph, kan l'chatzar acheres, when you're pulling your hand, or I should say, dropping the item into a different chatzar, that's where we said it's ulcer. Now the Gemara explains. You're holding peiros and you stick your hand outside on Shabbos. You're allowed to pull it back into the same chatzar. Yeah, but what about l'chatzar acheres? Can you put it into a different chatzar from one rishus yachad to another rishus yachad? Amrlei aser, says the Gemara. What's the difference if you're allowed to pull your hand into the same place that you're standing? Why? Will putting your hand into different chatzar be different? Says Rav Nachman, the teichel alakur de milcha. When you give me a core of salt, I'll explain it to you. You know what the difference is? One of the olashainis of the Gemara. Hasam. When you're going into the same rishas, lois avide machshavtei, his original machshava wasn't fulfilled. You did not do an akira and hanacha. Whereas hacha, when you go to a different rishas, it's avide machshavtei, your machshava was fulfilled. Why? Because what was your machshava when you stuck your hand outside? Is that you wanted to get this item out of your rishos. So if we were to allow you to put it into the neighboring Rishah, says Rashi, at some level, your original machshava was mikuyam, your original thought process was fulfilled. It's true, it might not be a proper daraisa, but we will not allow you to do such. Says the Gemara Gufa. 6 lines down, the 2 dots. Let's go a little bit deeper into the Shaila of Rabbi Rabbiya with the bread on the side of the oven. This was where we started today, how we ended yesterday. Whether there was an equation between that case and our case, whether the fact that we made a kanas by our case, whether we didn't make a kanas by our case, factors into that case. Says the Gemara, Gufa by Rabbi Rabbiya. Hedvig bas b'taner, if someone put a piece of dough on the side of an oven, on Shabbos, do we allow you to take it down as Rabbi before it bakes, before it comes to a daraisa, or no? What's the case? If you put up a shagig and he didn't realize until the bread is already baked, what does it mean? Do we allow you to take it down? You didn't know you did. Rather, what must the case be talking about? Where he realized he made a mistake, he put the bread up, and then he realized. So what do you mean? There's no chiyav chatos, there's no daraisa. Why not? Because he didn't know what he was doing. A very important rule in all of Melech Shabbos, Inon Chayavim, smack in the middle of Dalet and Aleph. The first word line is Chayav, Inon Chayavim, ad, Sheteit Chilasan, Shigaga, Useifai, Shgaga. The only time there is a daraisa of it's a complete shaygeg. If it starts as a shaygeg by an inadvertent act and it ends as a shaygeg. But if there's a level of das in the middle, there will never be a daraisa. So says the Gemara, it'll never be a chatas, I should say. Says the Gemara, so why did Rabbi Barabaya ask about a koden shabali dechi of chatos? Ella b'mezid. So says we know what must be talking about. The guy b'mezid, deliberately he put the bread on. He knows it's aser, but he stuck it on the wall. But now he has charata. Now he's like, oy, what am I doing? It's Shabbos. I don't want to do this. So kodim shali de iser skila mi baile. Says the Gemara, if it was amazed, on amazed there's no carbon. This is again a reminder of all the basic tenets of Hilchei Shabbos. For amazed, what happens? For amazed, there is an iser skila, says the Gemara. So asks the Gemara, why did he talk about a chatos? Amar Rav Shila Leilam b'shagig. Really, it was a shagig. Ulamane tira. What does it mean? Do we permit? Lachirim. This guy didn't realize, and he inadvertently puts a piece of bread in an oven. Now someone else walks by and says, "Ivey, there's a piece of bread in the oven. If that bread bakes, the other guy's gonna be over daraisa. The guy's gonna be over a chatos. Could I take it down to save him?" That was the shaila of Rabbi Bar Abayo. Asks the Gemara Masler Rav Sheshes. 1 second. Massive sugya. Do we allow someone else to be over an isser to save someone else? So how can we allow this person to remove the dough, which is also an isser derabanan, as it requires a chachma to remove dough? So how would we allow you to be over derabanan to save your friends? Iser daraisa. Now this line, is a highly contested line and a very wide-ranging application to such a line, etc. But for us, you know what's going on? Really, put it on b'mezid. And you're right, Rabbi Barabaya Shaila really wasn't about a chatos, it was about a skila. He just said the wrong words. Arvacha, Brei, Derava Masla Behedya, he said explicitly, Amar Aviv Rabaya, Hedvig Bas Betanor, Tila, the Radaisa Kozmer Deiser Skila. That was the Shaila. And with that we conclude, and we'll pick it up from the 2 dots the next year of Siyata Dishmaya.